Fortnite.
Like that.
Epic Games, how the fuck do I lose that? Hey guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video. I wanna fucking shoot myself. I swear to God, World Cup has nothing on diamond lobbies. Diamond lobbies are so fucking hard. I'm telling you, Fortnite is literally worse than heroin. I hate this shit so fucking much, but it's a terrible addiction. I just can't wait for the new season though. I don't care if it sucks. Nothing gets fucking worse than this. Oh my God, got the weapon. Oh my God, you're fucked. Okay, you're weird, you're weird. I got that. I can't fucking do this shit no more. No, I can't fuck. Oh, I'm literally butt-ass naked, 4 fans on me, and a window open, and I'm still hot as fuck. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me.
Like, hello? I'm gonna leave if you don't have a mic, I swear.
Why are you trying to fucking Zeus mythic me, dude? How weird do you have to be? Jesus Christ, did I just get a fucking shieldfish? Not no, not. Oh God.
shit.
That got it.
Huh?
I don't even know, man.
Do we have the same mind? So think the first thing that comes to your mind when you see these different categories: dog, Mr. Beast, SpongeBob. Do we have the same mind? So think the first thing that comes to your mind when you see these different categories: dog, Mr. Beast, SpongeBob.
Nah. Nah, bro. Hello, do you have a mic? Bro, please have a mic. Yo, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Put it like out. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, fly the other way. No, no. I have a blue gatekeeper, it's fine. Bro, drop another weapon if you can hear me. Dennis, if you can hear me. Okay. It's fine, I'm good, bro. Chill. I'm coming. Jeg må ikke dø på den måde! Nej, ikke igen! Nej! Nej, please! Nej, altså, jeg sletter den der app. Altså. Nej. Ja, farvel. Væk med det lort, altså. Please. Ja. Altså, jeg skal dø på den måde. Altså, ja. Jeg er så fucking ligeglad, altså. Jeg skal aldrig have dig igen, din lille lure. Tak. Altså, tak. 6 kills, det er godt, men altså, bro. Så autistic, nigga.
Disgusting. It's summertime. Everyone sweats like 10 times more than they usually do, and you're only showering once a week. Stay far away from me, completely far away over there. I know some people are gonna try to
Hello.
You will enter the tournament today.
I know I already have a duo. Sorry.
The first thing, I see who's getting the first thing.
Alright, Carl, blindfold him on.
Did I?
Become duo.
I already have one. Sorry. Why did you still translate? I want to hear your voice. I don't care what you sound like. This is not even my real voice. I mean, this is my real voice. It's a little bit lighter, you know? But I'm just gonna talk like this. Double. 1, 2, 3. Jeg har en kæmpe pæk, og den hænger og den er nede ved Det har været sjovt, hvis det var en rigtig stor, men det var en lakningsud for min mor. Jeg lagde bare, for jeg havde brug for en pause efter en formiddag Bauhaus. I skal bare vide, det er svært at ved at være født med et kokopat. Nej, nu lige bare. Derude. Så. like you so bad. Nej. Like a
What? Den nye beef sour cream and onion fra McDonald's til kun 20 kroner. Det er da en drøm, der går i opfyldelse. Det er lige før, man kunne kalde den beef sour dream and onion.
This is Agent, the fastest growing team led by the faces of Bucky and Peterbot. But this team wasn't always so successful, even shutting down at one point.
Agent shut down sometime in 2021.
And that's Rad, the CEO of Agent, and I even got to interview him on the details no one knows about. So this is the entire story of Agent, which would start on May 28th of 2003, when Conrad Ethan Thompson, who everyone now knows as Rad, would be born. Now, Rad would live in Florida throughout his childhood and would be heavily involved in sports, specifically basketball, with his dad heavily investing into his basketball career at a young age. But Rad's father also liked to play video games, especially a game called SOCOM, and from time to time, Rad would see his father playing, growing his interest in video games. So throughout middle school, Rad would play all sorts of video games, from Call of Duty to 2K. And with a couple of friends, Rad started a team called Shifty, being heavily influenced by FaZe and the massive moves they were making during this time in New York.
And you know, I don't know why, bro, but I got a lot of inspiration from the FaZe guys and when they had that New York house. But it's really FaZe Rain. I like him a lot. FaZe Apex, FaZe Adapt, and FaZe Blaziken. You know, watching their YouTube videos when I was in like middle school, you know, I always wanted a clan, I always wanted a team house, all that. And yeah, bro, that's kind of like, you know, that inspiration from them also made me want to create a clan or a gaming team or whatever.
But despite his gaming desires, reality had started to set in for Rad, and he realized he had a choice ahead of him, which was his basketball career or video games. And at the time, the choice was obvious to him because he would continue forward with basketball, trying to get as good as possible, with his father even going as far as creating an AAU team for him to play even more. And heading into high school, he would continue his basketball grind, but gaming would find a way back into his life when one of his buddies in his freshman year convinced him to try out a brand new video game called Fortnite, and he would quickly fall in love with the game, playing it in his free time with his friends throughout high school, while still juggling his basketball career. And then when Rad was midway through high school, he would found Agent Gaming with a couple of friends in 2019. Now, this is the true start of Agent, and for Rad, it was again heavily inspired by the New York FaZe House. And from the get-go, Rad would do almost all, if not all, of the heavy lifting for the team, creating the social medias and growing them significantly, which is why he naturally assumed the role of CEO and Agent. But now, as gaming came back into Rad's life, he again had to face the choice, basketball or Agent.
So I know I could have went to college, whether it was, JUCO, DTU, whatever. But I didn't have the confidence level to where I thought I could have made it to the NBA. Like with my basketball game, I was like really good, but at the same time, I was too inconsistent. I would have an AAU tournament where I'd average 30 to 35 points. Some tournaments where I would never score more than 15, and that would piss me off. Like no college coach wants to, pick up a player that's just inconsistent and all they can do is score. They lack defense, yada yada yada. So I didn't think I could make it to the NBA. I also always wanted to never work a 9-to-5 at heart. I wanted to figure out a way, a side hustle or a business. And when I was like a kid, I would always see people who were young 20s or just even adults, they would just struggle. They had a lot of stress, and that would piss me off. I hate negative energy so much, and I was just I got to be financially free at a young age to where I'm just up, I'm just up and I'm not
I like
stressed.
that. Yeah.
So that's why I stopped playing basketball.
So after deciding to hang up the basketball jersey, his father was quite surprised because he had put in so much time into his son's basketball career. But Rad's truthfulness with himself helped him to realize that his basketball career might not bring him exactly what he truly desired, which was financial freedom. And the road to financial freedom would be long, but it would start when Rad decided to post montages on the Agent YouTube channel, introducing himself and some of his original teammates and other founders. Now, for the most part during this time, Agent was seen widely as just a creative clan or an Instagram team, and Rad really wanted to change this and take his organization to the next level, and he thought that having a legitimate competitive team was the best way. Now, he would do this, but in a much different way, because he would find quite the interesting approach to signing competitive players. Now, in his research and looking for competitive players to sign, he realized that the US dollar was significantly more valuable than the Australian dollar, and because of this, Agent originally dipped their toes into the competitive realm in the Oceania region, signing Rel, Wilbot, and some other OCE pros. And yes, that's the Rel that used to play with Mr. Fresh, and you may be wondering how exactly was he able to afford such a player? Well, Rad really went all in on Agent, spending some of his college funds on player contracts, while also being helped out by a friend named Supreme.
One of the guys who he was a co-owner at this time. This was maybe a few years after the team was founded. His name is Supreme. He ended up investing in his own money as well. He worked a 9-to-5. I didn't have a job, by the way, so I was using it depends. Different times I was using money from chores or using money from student loans in college to kind of take my business to the next level. I never worked a 9-to-5. So there was another another man named Supreme. That was his gamer tag or whatever. He was a grown man. He gave me some of his funds and he would help me contribute to salaries or whatever. He trusted in me and he trusted in the process. And I signed Oceania pros.
Now, with Agent signing some notable OCE pros, they were able to get their name out there just a little bit more, but they still struggled to ever really see major growth or recognition as a major Fortnite team. Now, Rad really did have quite the unique view on how he thought esports teams should be ran, and this view came from his major inspiration, FaZe Clan. Now, this view was that esports teams shouldn't only focus on competition, but instead focus heavily on content and collaboration into other parts of pop culture.
I saw that what FaZe did was so special, and I was so surprised that not many teams were kind of copying them, where it was more content focused and not content around the video game, So these are like Call of Duty pro players who also focus on content, and that's kind of what separated themselves, and then they started to do collaborations with rappers and actors and other, like, you know what I mean, like all other content creators and all that stuff. And it's still crazy to see that many people don't do it to this day, for esports teams at least.
And the effects of this view Rad had could be seen heavily in Agent's early content, as the team would post many videos with multiple members of the team being involved. Not to mention that at this time an esports team posting many videos was somewhat different, as once again 99% of teams during this time focused almost exclusively on competition. Now this approach seemed perfect for Agent to succeed because they were quite unique, but there was one problem that would continue to haunt them in their future, and that problem was money. Now at the time, Rad was basically relying on Supreme and some other guys to provide money for the organization, and this of course was not sustainable by any means, and it also totally
The easiest way to capture your gaming sessions is with Powder. With one click, record your entire session. Then let our AI handle
restricted Agent from making any big moves in the right direction. So Agent would shut down in late 2021.
So really, Agent I think shut down sometime in 2021. You know, I got a taste of making this an actual entity. I got a taste of making it a legitimate business, you know, and I got a taste of, like, you know, really running an esports team, you know. Like I was like, okay, we've had the pros, and I was like, okay, this is cool, this is great. We didn't make too much money, didn't really get any sponsors, but I was like, I know what to do. You know, I always was like, if I had the money, you know, but I was like, okay, boom. I did all that stuff, and I was like, I now need to get some investors, because I was just like, I can't really rely on Supreme and another guy to kind of, like, you know, help fund my business, where they're just giving me like a couple $100s a month to go sign pros, because, like, you know, realistically, we're just not gonna get anywhere. So it took me, I would say, a year and a half, because Agent shut down sometime in 2021. I think it was like November or October of 2021, to where I really shut it down. And in the beginning of 2023 is when I secured funding from an NFL player named Dexter Lawrence. So I saw that Dexter Lawrence and we both shared the same vision in gaming. You know, we thought that there was like I said earlier, there was like a missing hole. You don't really see gaming teams focus on actual content based around the creators, and they do like unique content, you know? So the way that I was able to start affording these players was I took the Agent Gaming Instagram account. We had like 55,000 followers at the time. We lost a lot because, you know, we basically ended
inactive.
And I DM'd every single athlete, NBA players, NFL players, NHL, MLB, you name it, every single athlete I DM'd. And I got, you know, I set up meetings with their, you know, their financial advisors, their agents. I was like cold calling. I was making decks. Dude, I did this for about a year and a half to almost 2 years, every single day. I had like, you know, a lot of great leads with athletes who were supposed to invest, and it ended up falling through, bro. So that's how I ended up getting Dexter. It's funny because Dexter also responded in 2022. But reminder, he invested in 2023. So with a lot of these athletes, I had to play catch up. It took a year to get Dex. Like Dexter responded like pretty quick, but it took him over a year to also really invest and for me to meet him and this and that.
So once Agent shut down, it really allowed for Rad to fully assess the situation, figuring out what really needed to happen to get Agent back up and running on all cylinders. And Rad would do exactly that, consistently reaching out to every possible public figure and sponsor that saw the vision that Rad had with Agent. And as some of you may know, Dexter Lawrence saw that vision, jumping on board with Agent after being in talks with Rad for multiple months. So now that Agent had funding for the first time in a while, although the funding was small, Rad was ready to re-enter the Fortnite competitive scene, and he would slowly re-enter with
my first amount of funding that I raised from Dexter, it really wasn't that much. It was very small. So I you know, our only person was Fatch, you know, and plus we weren't going to get sponsors immediately. It was just really hard. There was a lot of people that were signed, by the way, as well. There weren't like the orgs were kind of, there was still a decent amount of orgs that were around at that time, and everybody was signed. So I was just like, I don't have that much money. So I was like, okay, boom. So I signed Fatch. Fatch was like, you know, pretty decent for a signing. You know, he was a respected and you know, people like, you know, I wanted to give people the impression that we were serious, we meant business, and we weren't like a Team 33, you know.
Now really quickly, just to explain, Team 33 was a Fortnite team that jumped into Fortnite rather quickly, and they signed a ton of players, and it just turned out to be one big old scam. So in the wake of what had just happened with Team 33, Agent had to be very, very careful, and in a way build up their reputation as a new team, although they'd never done anything wrong. But But anyways, now that Agent had their foot in the door once again, they wanted to make a splash with a big signing to let everyone know that they were for real. And of course, this was all made possible through an increase in funding. And the choice of who to sign was obvious for Rad, but landing this massive deal wasn't easy, and it wouldn't have even happened if one crazy lucky moment didn't occur.
The next person was Cole. Cole just came off of winning an FNCS and, very respected. People might not agree with this, but I think Cole is just as good as Peter By, if not better. They're both really good. So yeah, we signed Cole.
Was it hard to get Cole as a signing?
It was really tough. I mean, everything happens for a reason. He was supposed to sign to Man City. Like, as we see, he's in Man City now. He left Agent to go join Man City. He was supposed to sign to Man City before Agent even re-entered the scene. And his Wi-Fi went out whenever he was supposed to have a meeting with them for them to sign him. And that's how I was able to get him, because they didn't follow up. Like, he doesn't communicate well, and no shade to him. That's just how he is. That's just how some people are. So I was able to get, to see him IRL, to tell him, how bad I really wanted to sign him and share my vision with him. And he ended up signing to the team. So that's how I got Cole.
Now, Agent being able to pick up Cole was a huge step in the right direction for Agent, as Cole had just come off an FNCS win, and it also helped to build a layer of trust behind the organization. And this really would only get bigger as Agent would pick up multiple other players over the next few months, really showing that they were back in the Fortnite scene and that they were there to stay.
Next is Paper. I met him at DreamHack Dallas last year. I just wanted to basically, Cole didn't qualify, and I wanted to go to Saudi, and I wanted to get a player, and he qualified. Paper qualified with the Amzo, so that's the reason why I signed Paper. After that, I believe it was Pars and Baca. After Pars and Baca, I just seen that they were a great duo together. And by the way, I still had the same goal of wanting to be content focused. There just wasn't that many people that I could have signed, because there's a lot of other factors that went into it. I'm young, people just didn't really believe it. And I was not going to overspend. Yeah, they were going to be like, okay, I'll sign to you, but I'll be like, I need 5-6K. Some people just weren't worth that. So I just wasn't going to do it. There's a lot of pros that I even tried to reach out to. Iamzo, Rise, Dave, so many people, bro. There were so many people that egoed me. I had this vision, I had this plan, and they never responded, bro. So yeah, and then after Pars Baca was Scented. There was a big name. I was able to get Scented out of a contract from a team that he was on because things weren't going well with that organization. And I really like Scented. And I was like, perfect. This is gonna be our first really big player, our really big player where he has a lot of respect to his name. And then a lot of people might even ask as to why sign Scented if you're black, and why he got kicked from FaZe Clan. I mean, people make mistakes. It is what it is. You kind of just got to grow up. He learned from it, and he's not an immature person. So it is what it is. And then after Scented was Reet. Reet's my favorite player of all time.
So obviously, in signing all these players, they had to drop a ton of cash. And once again, you may be wondering how exactly they got it. Well, to begin, of course, Aiden sold a massive investor in Dexter Lawrence. But they managed to get their name out there into the world even more in, yet again, another very, very lucky sequence of events. So basically, Coca-Cola was sponsoring Six Flags and some special events they would hold, and Dignitas, another rival Fortnite org, was supposed to be at the event, but they ended up flaking, leaving the door perfectly open for Agent to show up.
There was an activation, it's Six Flags at the park. They have these gaming houses. Coca-Cola sponsored it. I know they were supposed to do something with Dignitas, and Dignitas ended up flaking and not showing up, saying that they weren't going to be able to go. So Bully's mother, Jennifer, she was a big fan of my team. She really liked me. She liked Agent. She liked the vision. And she was the one that had a great relationship with the people at Coca-Cola. Shout out to my guy, John. She put me in touch with one of these guys who worked for Coca-Cola, and I got on the phone with him. I'm talking, this was maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it was super late. It was me, Scented, Pars, Baca. We stayed up all night. We got on a flight maybe 5, 6 a.m. or something like that, and we flew to San Antonio to go to this event, and that's how we did our first activation with them. So that's kind of how that Coca-Cola and Six Flags one happened. It was just a blessing from God. It just happened. It really just it really just happened.
Now, it's quite funny that Agent really got the sponsor just given to them by Dignitas, again, another gaming organization who's Agent's #1 competition. Anyways, in this partnership, Agent wasn't really directly receiving funds from Six Flags or Coca-Cola, but instead they basically got free promotion. And regardless, being close with these massive companies is always good on the business side of things. And from here, with these great relationships, Agent would gear up for the up-and-coming global LAN event that would take place in Copenhagen. And Agent would be represented in the event by Cole and Reet, two of the best players on the NA East region at the time. And just by the way, they still are amongst the best players in the game. But anyways, they would end up placing quite well, with Cole placing 7th and Reet placing 9th, bringing in a total of $200,000 just from this one tournament. But that wouldn't be all, because it turned out a very underrated player at the time named Cooper, who we all probably know now, was a massive fan of Agent as a team, and he really liked what they were doing. So Cooper became friends with Rad, and Rad actually let Cooper wear an Agent jersey out on the stage when they were competing in the final round of the tournament. Now, it just so happened that Cooper's teammate was Miro, a 5-time FNCS winner, and these two would go on to do nothing short of absolutely dominating, being the most consistent team on the day, actually ending up.
Selvom at det er sådan en forholdsvis stor nok skole, så kender alle hinanden. Alle folk er imødekommende. Jeg bruger naturen til at slappe af efter undervisning. Her er dog højt til loftet.
Ready for more? Pro Drops gives your game an additional experience. Challenging missions. Epic rewards. One app. Pro Drops. Enhance your game.
Up winning the whole tournament, bringing home $1 million. Now, you may be thinking that that was absolutely crazy, and it was, because Cooper was never officially signed or paid by Agent, but he still represented Agent and got their name out there big time, winning the biggest Fortnite tournament in years.
You know, Cooper didn't officially sign to us. I just know he was like a huge supporter of our team. And, you know, at Globals, he wanted to represent Agent. So, you know, I gave him,
oh, wow.
I gave him the jersey, you know, I gave him the jerseys to wear in the events, and he ended up winning. So he wanted the Agent jersey.
What?
He was representing Agent during the jersey, but he was never really officially contracted or signed to the team. But yeah, he was like, he really liked Agent, bro. Like, he really did. He probably, not probably, I know he still does to this day. So yeah, that's how we got Cooper, bro.
So after a fantastic showing for Agent in Copenhagen against all the world's best Fortnite players, Agent seemed like it was going to continue to rise through the ranks of the Fortnite community, and it would more than deliver on those expectations. And to start the new year, Agent had to thin up the roster, only holding on to the most valuable players in Scented and Reet, releasing Baka, Pars, and Paper. Now, the organization was at an all-time high, and Rad had also managed to secure some new behind-the-scenes sponsorship funding. And to help Agent appeal to a larger audience, Agent would sign Frantic.
We got a little bit more respect for the team. I ended up raising more and more funding as well. Signed Frantic. I wanted diversity.
Now, with Rad signing Frantic, he also had to film an announcement video for her joining Agent. So he would have to take a flight out of his own hometown in Florida over to Dallas where the video was filmed. But he quickly realized that he had a problem that would turn into one of the best business moves he would ever make. So I'll let Rad explain this one.
The trick with this is, when I signed Frantic and I flew back to Dallas from Florida, I wanted to check into a hotel, and I couldn't check into the hotel because you had to be 21. I was 20. The person I called was Bucky.
Wow.
So I said, Bucky, let me just stay. And me and Bucky, we've been talking for a while, ever since CCE ended. I was like, Bucky, I told him the situation. He was like, yeah, come to the crib. So I was just staying there while I needed to be in Dallas to film Frantic's video. And then this was around the time that I raised more funding for the year of 2024. And I was going to sign Bucky really, really soon. We've been talking about it.
So basically all the stars had aligned, and it ended up working out perfectly because Rad was able to film the Frantic video and also hang out with the players that were next on his list to bring into Agent. Now, while Rad was at Bucky's house, he was able to secure even more funding, allowing him to pull the trigger on signing both Peterbot and Bucky, the best Fortnite player in the world, along with the best content creator in Fortnite respectively. And now that Rad had built up such an interesting team with such great personalities, it was finally time for him to try and move all of his players into one house to focus on content like he'd originally intended over 5 years earlier. And on top of this, he'd recently secured a massive sponsor in Rebase that helped sponsor this finance idea. So it took a ton of coordination and planning on Rad's part, but he managed to actually move all the Agent boys into one house outside of Dallas. Now, this house had a stacked lineup, with Bucky, Pete, Pilot, Ocus, and Scented being in the house. And everything seemed to be great with this house, but they soon found out that the internet was absolutely terrible. so they were forced to find a new place since all their jobs heavily relied on the internet. But even though they had terrible internet at this house, it didn't stop Peterbot from hopping on a hotspot and winning multiple tournaments. Now, I personally like to think that this was a sign of the success Agent would see in just a few weeks, because after luckily getting out of the lease at this house, they signed a new lease to a new house that was absolutely perfect for content. And with total confidence behind the house, along with everyone being totally dialed in on content, the house was destined to succeed. And Agent had really begun to see some growth, and this growth was only multiplied when Peterbot ended up winning FNCS by over 200 points, which is a world record. Now, this seemed like a really great thing for Agent, but in reality, Peterbot was presented multiple deals with other organizations in attempts to buy Peterbot out. And with all this money being available, Peter could have easily left. But it turned out that Agent was creating quite the family in this new house, because Peterbot would stay strong with Agent.
Teams try to buy him out, teams try to get him for ESL, teams try to get him for Saudi, just teams try to buy him out in general. I think he's seen, and this is the one thing that I like about Bucky or like Scented, like obviously if they're gonna get like 100K a month, they'd obviously leave me most likely. But with those guys, if it's like a few $1,000 difference, even like 5K or whatever, they're not the types to just leave me or whatever.
Yeah.
I think with the family that we built and the relationship that we built with everybody in his house, P has kind of seen it. And he understands the business's vision now, and he understands this. Like, he sees that Agent is better than every team in the scene, and he sees the potential.
Sure.
So I would, like, at first I was maybe a little bit worried because teams are just going to throw crazy dollar amounts at you. But here's the thing that teams do, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Teams just give you money, and they give you a place to stay, but they don't do content with you. Like, if you've seen what we've done with Peterbot, is like the dude streaming with Facecam again now. It's not just me, it's Scented. It's not just Scented and me, it's Bucky. It's not just Bucky and all of us, it's Pilot. Like everybody's, like doing things with Peterbot that's making him more comfortable, and he's going out of his, he's going outside more. We're taking him to the mall. Everybody's kind of getting to know him better. So I think he's been able to see, like, how I communicate with his parents on a respectful manner, or a respectful level, and be a good role model for him and help him out in different ways other than just like, like orgs don't really just do that. They just give you a fat paycheck, say stream these hours, the player doesn't stream these hours, they still get paid, and yeah, that's about it. So I think he's I think that's why he's been a little bit more loyal to us.
So with the
out to Iamzo, Rise, Dave, so many people, there were so many.
Three, two, one, go. So my skill set in Kaizo is a little bit different than every.
Get it out that way. Bro, we went back to bunker. Just going now.
They're gone. Surge base up ahead.
Yeah.
It just made me now. Boom! I really like that. Back on my pack. 315 is not so good, man. Many man. Respect the police. Oh, please, så nej. Det er tæt på. Respect the police. Har vi den, men altså har vi den. Respect the police. Respect the distance from me. Motherfucker, don't be free. It just bring me now bound. I really like that. free. Nigga, it's just me, nigga.